we appear to be here to some extent. So, dearly parasocial, we have gathered here for your favorite toxic negativity streamer, myself, and BigSpoon, GrimDarkJames, and Glimo playing Kendric, Gwgan, and Kyned. Sure, let's do the sub-stirring intro thing. We gotta respect the game. We gotta respect the game. This is King Arthur Pendragon, the Great Pendragon Campaign, the 25th episode. My understanding is that King Arthur Pendragon 6.0 will be coming out in April of 2024. They have not yet confirmed whether there will be a Foundry module. I can pretty safely say that we'll almost certainly be switching to 6.0. And if a Foundry module comes out, I will be unsubscribing to Roll20 once again. And we will move everything at painstaking length of data entry over to Foundry, if that happens.
It's funny you say that, because I also am only running Roll20 now, specifically for Pendragon. And I was looking through and I worked out my Roll20 yearly subscription is due to renew on, I've found it before, it's not till December. Okay, so I've got all year until, but yeah, there was a few things I had coming up. It's like, if I can stop using that before it comes up, I can save myself some money. But yeah, Roll20 is going to renew in December for me.
Wouldn't it be nice? Last episode 24, we met with King Cerdic and Prince Kynric, who are members of the Gawesi, the tribes of Vortigern, the evil king. Now, some would question whether they have a right to rule, but that said, the blood of the king is the blood of the king, and we all know the Ferengi 17th rule of acquisition. So, while Cerdic seemed to squarely be moving in a sort of expansionary domain of protection sort of deal, Prince Kynric introduced himself to Kendric in a sort of way that was somewhat more swashbuckling, debonair, and more interested in strange bedfellows with as many women in the local populace as possible, rather than outright brutal rule. With that said, we are moving into the summer solidly, where we have a hunt upcoming. And of course, the consequences of several of your actions lay over your head. Is there anything anyone wanted to do in response to the last episode's ending? Anything you want to resolve before we move into the summer and the hunt? While you think about that, I just want to remind the audience that I had this system that I even previewed before the dark age of the fall of Uther, where there were going to be family councils of elders, and then everyone either killed their elders, dismissed their elders, or have made them knights somewhere else other than their house. So this entire system I had where I was like, it's going to be social warfare within your house. I'll be outmaneuvering all of them. These long-range plots that I have laid in. And then now I'm like, all right, I'm going to take these scripts, throw them in a fucking trash bin, I guess.
I think the problem was with my family, we all just agreed. They're like, haha, we want this. I'm like, you know what? I want that too.
Kyned had the opposite reaction, I think.
Yeah.
There's no room for negotiation. Witch, you shall be burned. You dishonor the name of knights. By the way, this episode will almost certainly be shorter than normal. We'll see where we stand at the end of the first break. Glimo, literally no sleep will Brooklyn his way into the door to get this episode in. So you'll take what we give you. There's that toxic negativity coming out right there.
I don't think I have anything.
No pre-hunt plans.
I was trying to remember which show it was that I got cut off at the end of the session, but I think it was a different show where I didn't get to do it.
That was session. Blades of Honor. You didn't get a chance to talk to your mech tech bow.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll 100% do that in a flashback, but we'll do it at the end of the next session. Okay. A great hunt is called forward, as great a hunt as there can be given the thin numbers of nobility. However, almost everyone is present. Not only have the knights and nobles put aside everything in order to show as a show of force, the greatest huntsman of the county and the attendant dogs all show up as well, which causes people to show up in order to feed all of the knights. And so it has turned into an impromptu festival, all paid for by the newest baron of the land. With that said, you will need to either form a hunting group or each of you be placed on your own hunting track. And you'll need to decide what you want to hunt. Now, normally, in the merry land of England, wolves would not be a huge issue outside of the forest, but with so many fewer noblemen hunting and no king to call upon poachers and such, wolves have started to spread in greater numbers, and this will perhaps be endemic in the future. With that said, there's also a boar problem. And that's not just in the forest. It has been spreading Valheim style out into the plains as well, as boars are beginning to test lands even as far west of the forests as our good Kendric's estates. And furthermore, there are rumors that in the forest that will one day be called Camelot Forest in the southeast part of Salisbury, there is a demon boar who stands as a king above all other boars. He is the one who has called them all out into the plains. Is it just the foolish rumor of peasants, or is there the truth of magic to this demon boar's presence? Several hunting expeditions, including Gwent's, have pledged themselves to hunting the demon boar.
Right. Hear me out here, my brothers. Obviously, noblemen are in short supply right now. And while, we all love a good hunt, I think the last thing we need is more noblemen dying of septicemia because they got gored by a boar. Like, should we not consider hunting something that is viewed as a good omen? For example, a white hart, but not necessarily something that is going to put us in potential mortal peril when the realm needs men?
I would tend to agree with you, Sir Gwgan. Perhaps we don't hunt the demon boar.
It's a game for younger men.
Seems like it's up Gwent's alley.
Game for younger men. Incredible. Okay. So you would, rather than hunt dangerous prey, you would hunt normal prey.
Well,
Also,
rare and well-omened prey.
yes.
Sure.
And so, like, what is the parameters of the hunt? They are, whoever comes back with the most, like...
It is whoever comes back with the most prestigious prize will receive a manor themselves.
Gotcha.
Did we name the manor last time? I feel like we did, but I may not have written it down.
He's the Baron of Blakemore.
He is, but it is not being awarded by the Baron. It is being awarded by Countess.
Oh, by the Countess. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Let me see if I put it in my notes anywhere.
Official manor. Is it Woodford? I believe it's Woodford.
Woodford.
But who would know besides me, or someone who was particularly frosty during the last episode?
Yeah, I just have that is holding a hunt for a manor in Blakemore Barony.
All I had.
I'm okay with it being Woodford, though.
Well, it's not strictly being held in the Blakemore, but it's being held by the Baron of Blakemore throughout all of Salisbury.
Okay.
Everyone is spreading out as they wish.
I mean, I don't know about the two of you, but my concern is that the more manors we own, the more stretched our forces are to try and defend them. So I am all for boosting morale for the community, but I don't seek to have more holdings.
More money, more problems is what you wish to say.
Right. Exactly.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
think Kyned's feeling flush. He just doubled his holdings, so he doesn't need.
I'm looking to if I win this, I'm going to. This is the manner I'm going to give Hayden.
Is Hayden joining us, or is Hayden going out on his own this time?
That's a great question.
He could double his chances if two groups are working on his behalf.
I think if you've inducted Hayden into the Order of the Axe, correct? Hayden will ride with you then.
Okay.
Isn't there like Order of the Axe Youngbloods? Like, with Gwent and Hayden and that,
Gwent is a founding member! Youngbloods! Jesus. So, because he's not a main character, he gets relished to the kids' table, huh? All back of the bus and shit. All right.
Listen, Gwent's going to get his own spin-off, okay?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be called The Witch Castle of Gwent. And it's going to be about him and all of the relationship problems he has because he keeps having tons of bastards so that someone will walk the wall with him. Oh, no one wants to serve on my castle? Guess I better have dozens of kids so that someone will do it. That's that long-term thinking that you get from being a master of Gwent deck assembly.
It's like with the Sword Chronicle system where you generate your house, and it's 10 points for the first son, 5 points for the subsequent sons, 5 points for the first daughter, and 0 points for subsequent daughters. And I said that to my group, and they're like, "Oh, so what I'm hearing is infinite daughters."
We're allied with every other house in the land.
The Switzerland of houses, yes. You have also received an offer to have the Bardic group Breakfast at Tiffany's follow you around and keep you entertained when you are not in the hunt, attend to your camp, that sort of thing. They will do such a job for £2.
I'm in.
Okay. As you know, they're hoping to become famous enough that they get invited to the gossip monger Lady Tiffany's breakfasts. Of course, Lady Tiffany is but a small scale compared to the true gossip monger of London, Lady Wimbledon, as we all recall.
Yes. Lady Wimbledon.
Look, that is its own show right there. That's the Bridgerton of this universe, is the battle between the two of them to become the gossip girl. I don't know if that's a good reference because I don't know anything about that show. I assume it's about a girl who gossips. Okay. I would like a hunting roll from whoever is leading this group to see if you can actually snag a white heart as a possible encounter.
I have a hunting score of 10.
I was going to say, I don't want to assume, brothers, but I do believe I have.
Yes, I think Kendric is the great white hunter.
Yes.
Do you have hounds?
That's a good question.
You have the attendant hunting forces that you need.
Okay.
Like, you have peasants and hounds that will all come with all of you. And you know this land, so you get the +5 to your hunting skill.
Okay. Well, I don't believe I can fail then.
Is there a passion?
It's not a question. To hunt a legendary white heart, you need to do more than succeed, yes. I should say. Otherwise, you may end up with a less spectacular prey. Could you?
Call upon Loyalty Order of the Axe and attempt to impassion myself?
I will, and simply and only because you are planning to win on behalf of Hayden.
Okay. It's just a failure, so nothing happens. All right. So it's just the +5 then. Okay. Success.
Let's take a look here. You can indeed hunt a white heart. it should be noted that this is a particularly persistent and dogged prey to hunt. No, it's the opposite of those words. It's difficult to hunt because it is constantly running away.
We must be persistent.
You must be persistent and dogged in your pursuit of this legendary white heart.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say is its avoidance score is very high.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So just to go over the rules again, I think I'm going to take this away and put this up. Did this work? I don't think it did. Well, we'll have to say what's happening on the track. Okay, so you have a 10-part track because it is summer. So you have 9 opportunities to succeed. Every time you do succeed, you move a 6-part hunting track forward. So you need 5 successes or a critical in order to move ahead.
Okay.
Man, I must have been drunk when I made this map. It looks so bad. It is clearly not even at all. So,
Let's begin.
all of you set out that morning. Groups are riding in every direction. You begin roaming where in order to search for this heart? You have all of Salisbury to look at.
It would be in the woods. So do we want to go to Camelot?
We might as well
Place.
start. Yeah, we might as well start in the Camelot Forest. That is directly south of my lands, so I believe that's probably the best place to start.
Very well.
Do I continue to get the +5?
Yeah. I believe you get it throughout all of Salisbury.
Okay, cool.
Interesting. You get a success on the hunt. You move the pursuit marker ahead 1 while we move the sun track ahead 1. Very well. It is sort of a normal start. Nothing spectacular here. You announce your intentions to hunt the white heart. There is no lollygagging or groaning. The men and the dogs are equally eager. Whether understood or not how difficult this challenge would be, both groups are fully committed to this particular hunt under your leadership. And some men say, they mutter among themselves, they call him the mad bear. If he can do what a bear would do to a deer, well, surely he must be a great hunter. Others say that you are a young wolf. And
Not quite so young anymore.
Word spreads out, and people are eager to begin. The 3 of you and Hayden on your horses begin spreading out, and the men and dogs bray behind you as they too begin flushing prey out and beginning to surround the area. Kyned.
Oh, sorry.
You know what? We'll go. We'll see what your thing is before I do my thing. Well, you're B. Dave Waltersing. That's fine. Another success. You move forward as well. The dogs have picked up the scent. They're starting to track something. You're not sure if it's the white heart, but it's definitely a deer. One of the men leans down and gets a little bit of fumets on his finger and then sniffs them and then does a little lick and goes, "Aye, this must be the taste of the white heart. I say it." And someone says, "You're in drink." And he says, "Nay, all I had last night was wild hunt from Imber." Really shredded my voice there on that one. My apologies. As this is happening, Kyned, someone rides up next to you. You don't recognize them. It is a young woman. She seems like 16 to 20-ish, wearing pretty simple garb and like riding side saddle, having 2 men, one of whom seems to be some kind of escort and the other who seems to be leading the horse. catches up with you and says, Sir Kyned, might I have a moment with you?
I am upon a hunt right now, milady, but
Just a moment, just a moment.
very well. What can I do for you?
So, I have to tell you, if you stop to speak with her, you will not be able to keep up with the group, and you will fall behind.
Ah, okay.
I'm literally stealing this from Crusader Kings 3. Not figuratively, literally. Yes. And I'll tell you what, to spice it up before you make the choice, she says, it's about your sister-in-law. I bring word. You look, you see Kendric, you see Gwgan, and you also see Hayden all riding ahead, continuing on the hunt as this woman and her 2 body men are here, encouraging you to stay back and talk to them.
And I roll intrigue to decide if I'm getting myself into an ambush.
An ambush. Interesting. Yeah, sure.
I don't know. I mean, I don't have a great chance of succeeding, but I don't think there's any other skill. Like, I'm assuming that intrigue would be the proper skill for this.
I think so. I mean, it's not a super knightly act, and intrigue is probably the closest.
Nope.
You are so nervous that this might be an act of intrigue. So many of your family members have died under mysterious circumstances or never been seen again.
I'm sorry, my lady, but
no, please wait.
My duty calls. Feel free to meet me, back at
the matter is time sensitive. No.
After
Shimmer, keep up. No, faster. As you begin riding away. She's like encouraging her pony, and it's just really plodding along there. Okay, Kendric. Let's make another roll. We move ahead again. You can feel the tension in the air. The dogs have something. And occasionally you see the flash of antlers and something moving in the forest whose color doesn't quite match the greens and browns you're looking for. As you're riding, Kendric, you have to stop to feed and water the horses for a little while. The men continue to surround the area. They think they have this contained. And someone wearing what you would assume a poacher or a smuggler of some type stumbles into your path. He's wearing a dark hood and like a black bandana over his face, mud covering his hands and the lower part of his legs, everything else covered in sort of camouflaged leathers. He stumbles into you and then says, my apologies, sir. I wasn't looking where I was going. Please excuse me. And he goes to stumble into the brush.
Kendric will taunt him and go, hold there, peasant.
He continues walking. He doesn't look around nervously or like stop to acknowledge you said something to him. He's just doing the like, oh, yep, I'm a guy. You weren't talking to me. Walk away thing. You know, you've seen children at school who are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
As he's walking away, you can see that he has, you know, like a bow, a quiver on the back of the bow. You can see directly behind, like right above his butt, he's got the small knife handle put laterally so he could pull it out and be like, ha-ha, sort of deal, as he's making his way from you. Guess what, motherfucker? Crusader Kickster.
Yeah. Let's see. Am I mounted?
If you want to be mounted, you can be.
Okay.
I will point out that this is supposed to be a resting period for your horse.
Sure. Okay, that's fair.
If you want to use your horse here, there will be penalties.
No, I'll be all right on foot. Do I know who, like, so he's obviously breaking the law by
Does
poaching
seem
there.
that way.
Yeah, okay.
However, it should be noted that poaching laws are against
From the king.
The king.
Right.
And if there is no king.
Right, and that's where my dilemma lays, is there is no king. So whose forest is it? It's not the king's anymore.
And yet, it is a crime.
Yes. I think Kendric will call out again and go after him.
Okay. You're going on foot or you're going mounted?
On foot.
Okay. He looks at you. You say that you are no young man, but it is very obvious that you are a powerful individual who is now chasing actively after him. And so he stops and turns and says, yes, sir.
Kendric.
Is there something I can help you with, Sir Kendric?
What is your business in this forest?
I'm a local guide. I help hunting parties in the area for a slight price.
I see. Are you working for someone right now?
I'm a free man. He says that. You stare. We have this silence, and that's when he makes his mistake. When he says, "Yes, I used to work for Sir Blaine's." Sir Blaine's, and you're like, Sir Blaine's isn't.
You're on the
This
wrong
is
side of the
solid
river,
50
buddy.
plus miles away from the furthest of Blaine's lands. And he's also been dead for years.
Yeah, so I wish to apprehend this man.
Okay. Know that by doing so, you will be slowing the hunt down.
Sure.
Okay.
So like, I don't know if I draw my sword on him, but like we have huntsmen with us, right?
Yes. And so you are duly armed with a bow and arrow, of course, because it's a hunt, and you do have men to help you. There's no chance that this guy could overpower you, even though you aren't even wearing armor. Like, there's just too many people around here to fight. He tries to flee, but he, despite whatever smuggling skill or whatever, what's it called when you illegally hunt?
Poaching?
Despite his poaching skill, he cannot evade so many men at such close range, and they quickly surround, and he surrenders. It does, however, take one part of your activity track to do this as well. I would like you to make a just roll.
Okay. I'll pass.
Okay, you can check mark just. You have the opportunity to do what you wish with this man. Normally, this would be a capital crime worthy of several punishments, in the most extreme cases, death, and it would be sentenced by the king. However, as has been noted, there is no king. So what you want to do with this man is entirely at your prerogative. You certainly have caught him in a lie doing something that is very illegal.
Suggestion?
Feel free.
I think we should bring him back with us, because that way, if our hunt does fail, at least we can show that our hunt only failed because we were doing the realm's work.
He starts sweating.
I agree. And
Please, I can help you.
in other times, I would have taken a finger or two and then left him.
If you would but pardon me for this minor transgression, my lords, I will help you in your hunt. Whatever you seek, I know these woods well. They are a dangerous and magical place. They say there is a great demon boar in the local area. You would do well to avoid it.
Can I make some sort of insight check on this dude?
Insight check.
Like
I don't
awareness
know
or
that this...
Intrigue?
I think intrigue, yeah.
Okay, to see
But
if
let
he's
me ask
lying
you,
or
hold
not.
on. Let me ask you,
Yeah.
what does a failed intrigue look like? Do I tell you the opposite of what you're looking for, and you believe that? Despite your player knowing?
Yeah, well, I think a failed intrigue here means that that Kendric will basically buy whatever this dude is saying.
All right.
And I mean, it's probably like the chances are it's going to be a
There's
failed
no
intrigue roll.
probably, all right? I just... Probability lately has been real fucked. All right, but yeah.
That's a fail.
I mean, look, as much as you say that you're not trying to win any hunting competition, it is nice to come back in one day and bring what you have back. And
Sure.
it would be nice not to just outrightly murder this man. You know what I mean?
If he helps us find our quarry, then perhaps the White Heart is an omen of providence to
Mercy.
him. Yes.
So I instructed my men to take his bow and arrows and any sort of weapons that he has,
Okay.
other than maybe a camp knife. And I say, if you assist us in our hunt, I will consider that payment for your crimes.
Okay. You get an additional +5 for the rest of the day.
Nice.
And see, now that I'm using that, I've been waiting to use the Crusader King's influence for months, by the way. We just haven't been playing and doing hunts. Now that we have that, the hunt seems spicier than just sitting here and be Dave Waltersing a bunch of hunting rules, all right?
Yeah, but now that we're Crusader Kings, I'm definitely going to start killing my own children.
You have to have a
You're
special
already doing
ability to
that.
do that. You have to have a specific trait. You have to be sadistic, James. And while you have that trait, Gwgan does not.
No, he just sends them on pilgrimages.
Hey, that's not insured death. That's just probably.
Yeah.
So, just speaking of kids, I got to say that. So, I just got a message from my son asking if me and my wife would come pick him up. He went to a friend's place last night, and he said they just got to the park, and he spent so fast he threw up. I sent it to my wife and said, "Can you go pick him up?"
Nice.
Okay. Kids, they just do crazy stuff. All right, let's get this next hunting roll out of the way.
+10 now. Ooh, that's a critical.
That is a critical. According to this critical sense, you find the prey at once. We're moving forward. We're at winter. You'd be in a tough time. We will now check versus avoidance. You are starting the chase. You will need to make another hunting roll, and it will need to beat the avoidance of your opponent, which is an 18. You still have all of your bonuses to this.
Not quite.
Well, I mean, he's got to roll against his skill of 18.
Yep,
Obviously.
15.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, avoidance is done. You are allowed to make a surprise attack at this point. And let's see here. Determine the distance between the hunter and the hunted, then run surprise attack in the rush. All right, so sorry. I need to open the book to yet another section.
Mhm.
We're going from the hunt section to the avoidance section. Surprise attacks versus avoidance. Here we go. Page 181. Okay. Once hunters have caught up to the quarry, the first character on the scene may make one free attack so long as he can close to melee distance or has a missile weapon with adequate range. So roll 1d6. Okay, a 3. So it is 3 plus 18 minus your hunting value. What's your total hunting skill right now?
With the plus 10, it's 25.
You so you get 4 meters of distance on him out of the 10. So you're within 6 meters. I believe that your hunting horse is capable of doing the rush. You can do a charge melee attack, or of course you can try to bow this thing down.
Yeah, I'm going to do a charge melee attack.
Okay. Is there any character with significantly higher glory than you? Not just higher, significantly higher glory between you, Hated, Kyned, and Gwgan?
What's
Kyned.
What's Gwgan's?
59-19.
No, I'm right behind you. 58.
Okay.
58,
You are
84.
allowed the first attack.
Okay.
So this is your weapon skill versus the avoidance roll just for the surprise attack. So I'm still rolling against an 18 to see how I do
Do you
against
get
you.
a mounted bonus against ground target?
Not for the surprise attack.
Okay.
He still gets the +5 and +5 for hunting.
All right. Clearly, the heart has a long spear.
So I still get a plus 10 for
You
this
still get
attack.
a +10. Yes,
Okay.
with your hunting with your weapon skill. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. That's a success.
Okay. It is a success. You deal the normal damage that you would have to this beast.
Horse damage.
Yeah, which would be.
charge.
I don't think I'd be riding my charger to this, so I'll
That
do
would be
round some
extremely
damage.
unlikely.
Yeah,
You don't
so
take your
round some-
charger riding through the woods all day.
19.
Okay. 19 damage. We'll see how they fare. And then, if the quarry survives the surprise attack, as many as 3 additional characters with melee weapons may attempt another attack. It has to split its avoidance value between all of the rest of the combatants during the rush phase. So that means Kyned, Gwgan, and Hayden can all roll on of catching up to this thing while I... Uh-oh. I've done something wrong. Sorry, friends.
Catching up
If
to
this was,
D6.
if this was a good podcast, we would edit all of this parts out. But it's just I only have 2 copies of the rule book, and I need to keep moving between the rules.
Did you close one of them by mistake?
Yes. Okay. The creature that you're looking for has a 32 hit points, a knockdown of 17. How much did you do to it?
19.
19. Okay, so with an armor of 3, it's still going to look at a knockdown. It also has a major wound of 15, which I believe means this is a major wound to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to check for knockdown. And what's major wound do for me as a deer?
So
It's going to take an aging roll.
Oh boy. It goes down hard. This thing, you rush up to it and you're spearing it or sword?
lancing it.
Lancing
So
it. You lance into this thing. It collapses and slides across the forest floor, sending up a flurry of leaves in the process. And it does that thing deer do where its legs are still moving, but it's just flailing as you have driven it into the ground. So I believe that all of you get a +5 again because it's prone.
Mhm.
No, you're already mounted. Am I crazy for that? Is it a +10 when you're down?
No,
Well-
it basically means that they have to.
Oh, they have to spend their
fight
turn
defen-
standing up. Yes,
Well,
yes.
they can fight defensively if they want, but they are -10 from being on the ground.
Yeah.
But first, so
The rush.
the deer, well, and no, first the major wound. So
Okay.
you need to make a successful D20 roll against the current hit points. So however many it has left, it has to beat that in a D20 roll.
Otherwise, it passes out.
Yeah.
So I need to beat the number of hit points I currently have?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you have to roll less than. You have to roll
Less
less
than.
than.
Okay, well, I have 16, so that one worked out for me. Wait, did
No,
it?
it didn't.
No.
'Cause
No,
it didn't. Yeah, that was
You
a critical
fumbled it.
fail.
Okay,
It's
well,
unconscious.
it's unconscious. I have to say, Kendric or Gwgan, you are the I don't want to say most honorable, which may not even be true. But you are the most glorious, so you get the second shot at putting this thing down permanently.
Look, I if it's unconscious, and I'm just gonna like what do you call it? Harry it with my horse so it can't get up and run away, and leave the fatal blow for Kendric, who downed it. It was his hunt. He downed the beast.
Kyned, do you feel the same way?
Yeah.
All right. Hayden
So
does
Hayden
not
comes
feel
in.
the same way.
Hayden
is
kills Steels.
Leroy
And he
Jenkins!
fucking cuts its head off, and then we got nothing to take back because the hide's ruined.
No, he absolutely nails this dude. He nails him right in the heart, crushing part of the rib cage, driving the thing along the ground. Like, he drags the hide of this thing along the forest floor several meters before it slams up against a tree and is very clearly dead. He snaps a spear in the process. It goes flying. He's barely still in the saddle. Just, whew. You know, there's like guys running after him, like, my lord, come back! You're going the wrong way! Trying to get the reins on him.
Look, his blood is up, clearly.
Yeah, I think Kendrick had like, after his lance blow and he saw it was unconscious, he like slid from the saddle and pulled out a knife, and then Hayden just goes rushing past him.
Okay, as you're moving forward, you find that the poacher is moving step in step with you, and he says, if you would permit me my tools back, my lord, as you can see, I have helped you get your white heart. I will dress and prepare the animal for you.
Very well. And I'll, motion for one of my men to bring in his tools.
Okay.
And I'll say, what is your name, sir?
My name is Gimli.
Gimli.
Son of, what's it called?
Gloin. Yes. My name is Gimli Gloin's son. That is my name. I'm a poacher of these parts. No, wait. I'm a guide of these woods.
Yeah.
He kneels down as you're inspecting the animal and begins, doing everything you would need to field dress. And he says, excellent wound here, my lord. It is clear that your hunting skill is one of the greatest in the land. You must be from these parts.
I am the Lord of Pitton.
Lord of Pitton. I see. Yes, that's the name of Pitton is known to me. I must say, are you the one that they call the young wolf?
Man.
I cannot say that I truck with sorcery and pagan arts, my lord, but it is said that there are ways to summon the demon boar. The heart of the white heart could be one of many components. I know of an old woman in the woods nearby. We could summon the beast to us. I would warn away many a hunter, but it is clear you and your band are no mere outsiders.
Let me confer with my brothers.
As you say that, he's slicing the guts of this thing open and smells it, and he Star Wars Tauntaun references it. And I thought it smelled bad on the outside.
So Kendrick will call over Gwgan, Kyned, and Hayden.
Hayden rides over, sweat pouring, face red, clearly like eyes are huge and white with tiny beady eyes, 100% adrenaline rushing right now. Still holding the end of the broken lance.
Our erstwhile huntsman has said that he believes that the heart of the white heart is a component in perhaps a ceremony that will summon this demon boar to us so that we may slay it. What is it? What do the two of you think?
Two of us. There are three of us here.
Three of us. Sorry. Yes, of course.
I must say, I detest the name Demon Boar, and as a good Christian, I would never want to do anything that would involve Satanism.
Well, we'd be killing it. But I understand your point.
I do not believe that this boar is marked by the devil of any sort. I think it is just a larger than normal boar, but even if it is not,
peasant's tales to be sure.
This is witchcraft for sure, and using evil to fight evil makes me uncomfortable.
I mean, I certainly agree that I'm uncomfortable with the ritually described, but it's not on me to make that call that this is your hunt. But by the same token, we have our prize. Other men hunt this boar as well. We can't take all of the nation's glory for ourselves.
Too true.
We have to send the ritual components on to Brother Gwent.
That's not a bad idea, Sir Kyned.
Okay. I'm going to make a roll here real quick for Gwent's group to see if they can summon the demon board. Okay.
15.
Okay. Let me take a look on the list. Where is that list? There we go. In the wrong place? Crazy talking? Talk amongst yourselves while I do paperwork.
Well, I suspect we're going to have one of our parties who are going to be suffering from adrenal fatigue.
Yeah, of course. I've seen Burn Notice. I know how this goes. Hayden is like nodding wild-eyed, like, yes. Good hunt. A good hunt indeed.
It was a well-struck final blow.
I fear that it was stolen from you, good sir. You are the leader of our people in both the hunt and in actuality. My blow may have been in haste. It was clear that the animal was donezo. Absolutely wrecked, famished.
But I admire your energy.
The passion of a young man.
Yeah, I was to say, it reminds me of me a decade ago.
Okay, I finally found it. Is boar higher or lower than a 13? Yes. I'm going to check avoidance now to see if Gwent and his party can actually hunt it. And it's versus a 15. An 8 does not beat a 9, unfortunately. As you head back, you receive word several days later that Gwent's party has undergone the ritual to summon the demon boar. They did briefly see it. Some say that it was the size of a house. Others seem to say that it was a small hill moving on its own. As shaggy and green as a grass cottage. But it moved with unnatural speed and in a straight line, breaking the trees around it as it fled before the hunters, leading them deeper into the Camelot woods, where they became endangered and were forced to retreat. Gwent vowed vengeance against this creature of witchcraft and darkness. I'm going to roll to see how the other groups did, and we'll see if a white heart is better than everybody else. We're Eric Bulgarising, where we just throw dice to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. several people come back with wolves from the northern lands, and as such, it is awarded to one of the knights of Sir Wheel, Sir Tringid, who is awarded with the manor at Woodford. What would you like to do with the hide of the heart? Hide of the heart. Wow, that one.
It's a nice, like, white.
They definitely clean it up, and you get the, you get a pretty solid hide, and you've also got the mountable antler head mount thingy.
How many
as well.
points?
You know what, James? I'll let you roll a d12.
Ooh, that's
Okay.
one.
Here comes a 1 point.
I mean, we're gonna round it to the closest even number. It's such a young buck with only
this is
two.
why we lost. This is why we lost to the wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually a doe.
So young, so fragile.
That's right, still in this velvet.
Gimli, Gloin's son, does not part way with your group as you start heading back. He seems to have inserted himself into this group with no regard for, like, going home.
Gimli,
Yes.
times such as they are, I do always have work on my lands for a skilled huntsman. Would you be interested in relocating to Pitton?
Absolutely. I don't need to go get anything.
I thought not.
It has been lean times these years, my lord. After the ceremony, there is something like a feast. If any of you have plots, intrigues, or conversations you'd like to have, as the hunters all return, there are no deaths, but there are many failures, as the hunts culminate in accidents and affairs. Don't me. It's a bunch of horny young people, and all the men are dead.
For sure.
They Falcon. What's that Pro ZD skit?
Kyned looks around. Kyned has told the rest of his companions about the strange woman and her two bodyguards, just so that, should he disappear, there's a chance that someone finds him. But does Kyned
She's gone.
We'll look around and see if no.
She's gone.
Okay.
She did not catch up with the group after that point.
Okay.
I mean, you could return to Camelot and try and track her, but
Would you like to track her?
I got a bad omen out of it. If she did not follow us back here, then that just makes my feeling that it was a trap all the more distinct. She'll have to be more vigilant going forward.
Okay. I would like you to make a note here real quick, Kendric, that until 5 years from now, so 501, you have a +2 whenever you are hunting in the Camelot Forest if you bring Gimli.
really his skill is perishable.
I mean, hunting is a perishable skill. It's also a perishable activity. Plenty of people perish during it.
Very well. Have a note.
Anything else anyone wants to do at the feasting times?
So what did become of the hide in the end?
That's a great question.
Yeah, I think that's what we have to decide. I'm all for using it to like make decorative, like either like cloaks or and like some sort of accoutrement for us.
The other person I thought was maybe is whether we give it to Countess Ellen as a gift.
That'd be good too.
Have it made into a shawl or cloak and gifted to her.
Yeah.
Not that she's my more or anything.
Yeah, we could do that. Gift it from the order. I like that idea.
Okay. I know we do the marking down of glory at the end of the year, so don't give yourself the glory yet, but make a note that you should be awarded 20 glory, split between the 4 characters, and each of you will receive 10 individual glory for killing this. So in the end, the whole event will give you 15 total. So 20 split 4 ways, and then 10 for each person.
20 split three ways, or isn't it 4 ways because Hayden was there? So it's
20 split.
5. Yeah.
I said 20 split 4 ways.
So 4 ways. Okay.
That's why it's
so
15 total, because it's 10 and 5.
Right.
I would also like to speak to the Countess.
Okay. She's willing to speak to you. Kendric.
My lady.
It has been a good hunt. My understanding is that things have gone well for your group.
It did. We were able to secure a white heart.
I want to assume that you're showing her this, and she's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful. One could make a pretty good wall decoration or a rug or perhaps a shawl out of it." The top of a duvet.
Some pillow covers.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. A white heart pillow cover. How unique.
I wanted to ask, my lady, there are several manors along the Bourne.
There are?
That are empty. I was wondering if you had any plans on filling them.
She takes a deep breath and sighs and glances askew and then turns back towards you and leans in slightly and says, "Many manors are needed in order to fund the county. You know that what we have is not unlimited. And while I want to invest as many knights as possible, I have the issue of my daughter's dowry and the issue of course, keeping the county running despite the circumstances of this rebellion against my rightful rule, the increased need for security. There are empty manors, it is true. Do you believe that there need be a reason that they be filled immediately?"
Immediately, no. We paid the ransom to the Saxons. We are safe for a year at the very least. Though I do believe a conflict is coming.
As you say that, just because I like dramatic irony and all that stuff, we hear the sound of a Saxon horn in the darkness as a messenger appears carrying the banner of the Atheling Esquine of the East Saxons, or Essexians, if you would.
Does this messenger approach?
They are approaching towards the fires and the feast.
Mm-hmm. I think Kendric just kind of gestures and says, "We shall see."
"I am the messenger Cuthbert. Who is in charge here?
You address the Countess Ellen of Salisbury.
I have a
And
message
he
for
will-
the Countess Ellen of Salisbury. And he unveils like a large scroll and says, "My lord, the Aisling Esquan, has said that he shall ride out to negotiate with those who have landed on your southern shores and ensure the peace and prosperity of the people of Salisbury. There is no need for further negotiation. We will handle everything on your behalf. We are moving 2,000 men to your southern borders in order to defend you." Now, at that declaration, the Countess looks at you, Kendric, because she's not sure whether this is good or bad.
Yeah, I think Kendric had started to laugh, and then he stops. And he leans into the Countess and says, "They're attempting to station an army in our lands."
2,000 men is quite a few men. They are
is.
Saxons, though, without horses.
Yes, but 2,000 is still quite a lot.
We have paid them for the defense.
Yes, but we will either have to continue paying them or pay them to leave. I don't believe Kendric is interested in raiding us, at least this year. I believe it would be best to tell this man to not, that we no longer need the protection, that it was a false alarm, perhaps. I don't want 10,000 or 2,000 Saxons at our southern border, and I don't believe you do either.
She leans back up. The only sound beyond the two of your whispering is the crackling of the great bonfires at this feast. As she stares out across the open plain to look at this man and says, "We appreciate that you have answered our concerns. We do not require your men stationed at the southern border. If you can, halt them and send them home. I understand you may need to speak to your master before such an order is issued. We hope that you will resolve this with negotiation rather than conflict. We have sought peace with our new southern guests as well." And you can see that this messenger, Cuthbert, seems unsurprised by this negotiation, as if he anticipated something like this, and he says, "Of course, I will return immediately. I bid all of the dutiful and prosperous people of Salisbury a good evening. Continue with your feast without me. All praise be to the Atheling Esquine of Essex," as he flicks his horse reins and turns the horse and begins galloping away back into the night. And now he's like, "Damn, I got to get a room somewhere."
Damn my showmanship.
Hey, listen, he's a messenger in the pre-500s. Showmanship is like 90% of the job. Glimo, how you feeling? Do we have a second half to today?
I can at least go one more hour.
Okay.
Might not make it two.
Friends, we are going to take a break. And when we return in 5 minutes, you will have the second half of this episode as we discuss the after effects of this summer festival. Welcome back to the second half. For those of you watching live, for some reason, the alternative, the aux channel for music is not working, and I was not able to determine it in the amount of time I had. You see summer coming to an end, and you become aware of the death of a friend when you hear that they are looking for a new priest for Ember.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes clear that Old Gar has passed. Now, I believe the only person who actually knows him is Kendric at this point. But
Yes.
you quickly become acquainted, Gwgan, with a new priest by the name of Hubert, who describes himself as a man of Paris. And when he arrives, and the first few of his letters are cordial and informative, and they come about once a week. And then you start getting more letters with an insistence upon conversion of both Kendric and Kyned. That the Christian faith is so weak right now in Salisbury. The people need leadership. And what could be more miraculous than the outstanding battle knight Sir Kyned, and a commander of great renown, who it has been rumored has offered to convert before in private. Sir Kendric, if they could be made to convert, who else might follow? And how the Christian faith might be bolstered. It doesn't help, however, that about every fourth word is in French rather than in English.
Look, I think I'll write back saying that when Kendric offered to convert, it was for political reasons, and he had no interest in actually changing.
Just want to be clear, you're putting this on paper and actually writing it. Just to be clear.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Okay.
It's only apostasy if you actually leave your religion. I'm happy to say he's a heretic. Well, not a heretic. He's a heathen. Sorry, but yeah, that basically. God knows. Effectively, that's what I'm saying. You know, like I understand what this guy's looking for is a political symbol or a religious symbol, or somebody who will, and probably this person doesn't care if the person actually believes what they believe, but Gwgan does. So Gwgan, you know, unless Kendric chooses to convert, Gwgan will not encourage him to make the facsimile of converting purely for the external optics, because that would be not in God's plan.
Interesting. You get a follow-up message from Bishop of Salisbury, Bishop Roger, who just wants to know how things are going in regards to your faith.
No, I'm confidently telling my faith is very strong, and we'll also introduce him to the father of my own church in Shrewton that I've built. Remind him of how much glory I receive every year for owning a church.
You do not get many more messages from Hubert, the man of Paris, but several weeks at the end of summer, you get a message from Bishop Roger indicating that it has been some time since he has seen you in Amesbury, and that while the monks offer divine office to God, you have not been seen in the perpetual choir for some time. And it might be good to make a short pilgrimage.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun idea. I will take some funds from my treasury as well that I can also donate as a part of this.
Is this conspicuous consumption?
It is. It's conspicuous faith, Arthur.
You make a very short day trip to Amesbury, where you are seen, and the monks chant 24/7. When one monk ends, another begins, so that at all times throughout all of England there is always praise to God. As summer ends as well, a message is sent from Ethel, the blacksmith in London, to Kendric that your great swords are done and you may take possession of them in London at his shop.
Excellent. I will go myself. Yeah, I'll go myself. And I'll take... Oh, sorry.
You get a message at the same time as Kendric is preparing to head to London, indicating that you are in arrears for taxes for your estate in London.
I have an estate in London?
Yes. You might remember that I know so many people died in such a short amount of time. It has literally fallen between the cracks for you. For almost 2 years now, the estate of a certain merchant who all of his living belongings were bequeathed to his daughter, who is now, Kyned's cousin's
Squire?
Well, Kyned wasn't
Related
no.
to Hebe's.
Hebe's.
Oh, I thought he was Hebe's cousin.
Oh.
Am I crazy? All right, well then no, Hebe's is dealing with this problem then.
No, he's not.
Hebe's is
Okay.
dead, so...
It's another house's problem now. All right, my mistake. I was like, I'm going to spring this one on Glimo. And in fact, I was the one who was wrong. All right, Kendric, you are traveling to London then?
Yes.
Okay.
Hang on, let me mark off the 30 denarii.
You don't have to do that this time. You make the trip to London. As you are entering London, you are known to the guards, and one of the guards stops you and says, "You are the young wolf, Kendric of Pitton, are you not? Our lord would have words with you."
Whom do you serve?
"I serve Duke Ulfius."
Ah, excellent. Where does he...
"Do not worry, I will take you there." And he gestures for 5 other men to form a honor guard around you, a armed honor guard around you, and whistles for 2 more men to take his place and their place at the gate. People groan when it's clear that with fewer men, it's going to slow down entrance into London. But you are led to the estates of Duke Ulfius? Question mark? As long as you're not...
Yeah, I'll go with him.
Ulfius meets you on the 2nd-story balcony of his estate, looking pensively.
Oh, no.
I stay well inside the room.
It's not a very big balcony, and he gestures for you to come out as he is tending to a small garden up there. You can see that there is 2 chairs, a very small table. I don't want you to think like big table, like something you could put a book on with ink and quill there, and it looks like he's writing something that's a cross between poetry and memoirs, kind of like an Art of War sort of situation. He looks old. He looks very old. And he's not particularly, I mean, he's an old man, but he's not like super old. He looks it though. He looks grave and aged, even compared to the last time you saw him. He is sprinkling water, so he's dipping his hand in a bucket and then sprinkling the water over the plants as he says, "Sir Kendric, it is my understanding that you have performed a cattle raid in my lands. Is this correct?"
That is correct, my lord. As was the Salisburyan tradition.
"Yes, I understand the Salisburyan tradition, which is why I will not have you killed. Let me ask you something. Do you see what I have before me? These plants. They
Yes.
are thin and weak. I am no great farmer. I leave that to a true gardener. But these plants have been grown by my hand, and I grew the parents' plants, and I grew those before that as well. For many years I have tended, not greatly, but judiciously to these plants. I have placed my hands in the soil here, and some look down on this activity, which is why I perform it in private. What is this bullshit?" he says as he literally holds up shit to you. "What is this bullshit that you come into my lands while we have enemies on all sides, while a invasion in the south is happening, and you try to steal from my people? Thank God you didn't rob any of the churches, or there would be serious problems here. I ask you,
Indeed.
there are Saxons to take money from, and you would steal from good Britons? Bretons? Good Bretons?"
My reasoning for the raid was twofold. One, if I could take something that would strengthen Salisbury, I would. The second was to see and evaluate the state of your Western defense.
It is not well. For I have moved many of my troops to London.
Indeed.
London will be a neutral city. We will not bow, and Silchester will not bow to any Saxons. I do not regret what your people have done to our west. If you feel that you must tribute to the Saxons, then that is how it should be for you. But in my lands, we will not bow to the Saxons. I will have no Saxon prince claim justice over me. The true prince, the true king, is out there somewhere, and I will have him found.
So you will not pay the ransoms to the Saxons?
I will pay no ransoms to no Saxons. I offer homage only to the true king of Britain.
They have...
And for that matter, I do not recognize this invader from Vortigern's bloodline. But none of that is important to this conversation, because the only thing I have to say to you is I will grant your cattle raids through my lands. If you are friends with the Saxons to the east of me, there are Saxons to the north and to the south as well. And
So
you
I
have
will-
your own Passilo Saxons to the south.
We do.
Why would you torment Bretons when there are so many enemies around us who you could torment instead? Why take money out of the hands of the just when you could take it from the hands of the heathens and the outsiders?
You make an excellent point, my lord. So you would grant me safe passes through your lands to raid Saxon lands?
I would.
Very well.
He takes some of his bullshit and he slathers it into the plan and starts working into it. And he says, it takes a long time to grow something of value. And what comes out of it may be thin and reedy, but it has been done by your own hands.
I would agree.
All right. I'm going to go down to the River Thames to wash my hands. Its waters are still pure and good. Hey, it's 496, okay?
That's right, where people actively shat in the river.
He's got bullshit on his hands. He's going to go wash them down there.
My lord, before you take your leave, if it comes to war before the prince is found, you would be the one in charge of a Brittonic defense.
There is no Brittonic defense. I have hoped that the College of Legates would come together. There will be no Brittonic defense.
You have
all of
sons,
us
my
stand
lord.
alone.
Very well.
If you seek a united Breton, I would encourage you to go beyond Hadrian's Wall and to petition King Lot, who shall be no king of England of mine. But it is he and the woman that he has married that shall be the only one who could unite England in these tumultuous times. There are none other whose name may call them together. And I would not take up any sort of title of steward, as some have asked. There is only one king of England.
Very well. If that is your view, so be it.
Go. Leave my estates. I'm sure you have business here. You would not come to Londonium unannounced otherwise. I will make sure that formal recognition of your passage through Silchester is sent through the appropriate people.
You have my thanks, my lord.
Try not to get into too much trouble. Don't kill anyone important.
It's easier to ransom them back.
He just sighs deeply as he goes to stumble down to the Thames to wash his shit-covered hands.
Sorry, before I leave the monastery, I will tithe 10 libra to the church and also commit to quarry my lands to raise a cathedral within my lifetime.
Oh, okay. Look at this. Okay. I think that definitely earns the bishop's personal, like, he calls you in for a meeting to discuss why you believe creating a cathedral on your lands would be necessary. He does the very, Roman Catholic, like, you come in and he expects you to kiss the ring and bow
kiss
down
the
to
ring.
him.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it,
of course. My child, why are you so adamant at creating? I would never caution someone away from spreading the faith of God, but it would seem that this is an era for castles rather than cathedrals. Why? What has lit under you such a faith?
I mean, this is not to say that I'm not also raising castle defenses, but that I have been blessed with both wealth and faith. And as the father of Paris has stated, we need more symbols of faith for the populace to get behind, as we see more and more of them converting from the heathen religions. Houses of God are the walls and the defenses around which their faith is based. Already, as it stands, although I have a church in my lands, the father must run 2 masses to sustain the full population of Shrewton. A cathedral would not only be able to welcome all at once, but also have room left over for visitors from other counties who are not so fortunate as to have the opportunity to stand in God's house.
Truly, God smiles upon this mercy and generosity. I'd like you to take a check mark in generous.
I'll point out too that God, I already have a check mark, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, God obviously saw fit to take my firstborn son into his kingdom, and so I want to make him proud when he looks down and sees what his father has worked upon.
I gotta get from my list of shitty things people say. He drew him directly into his service so that he might be closer to his creator.
Indeed. And it is my worldly goal to make my son proud of his father as he sees the works I wrought in God's kingdom in his name.
He reaches over the table and puts your hand in both of his hands and says, I assure you, your son is already proud of what you have accomplished. Your tithing, your generosity, this ambitious plan to create a new cathedral. Your son must boil over in pride in heaven.
I cry a bit.
Okay. He comes over to comfort you.
Because Gwgan honestly believes it.
Wow, Kendric, Spoon, why are you saying that Bishop Roger is evil?
He did the classic, it's the double-handed handshake.
No, it wasn't a hand. He's taking his hand across the table because a man is mourning the death of his son.
I see. Okay.
Jesus.
Listen, I saw a guy go in with 2 hands and 1 hand, and I know that's classic AP for this character is bad.
Is the church evil is a question I am not going to discuss this episode. All right. Okay. Is the church an evil institution? Is not even in the genre for Arthurian. All right.
Join us next week for Intro Hour where we discuss is the church evil.
Oh my God. Why are you trying to get me demonetized all the time? No, listen, let me be very clear here. Whatever this group's views, my personal views are about the church and about our own personal faith, slamming on the church is the opposite of what happens during Arthurian stories. They are almost all morality tales of, if not Christian, then ethical and moral and just behavior, or the failure to do so and the consequences thereof, aka the Green Knight. So, is the church evil? No. Strictly speaking, in absolute terms, the church is not evil in this timeline of King Arthur. Now, would this guy like to get some contractors in there that belong to his brother? Yeah, sure. I mean, but who doesn't? You know what I mean?
Listen, a little nepotism makes the world go.
I never hurt nobody.
Like it'll take me a long time to build a cathedral. You need
Yes,
200
many years,
libre
like
worth of
20 years
stone.
or
Yeah.
something. Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean,
what
just
was-
as
what
long
was
as
the-
making a real stone castle.
What was the TV series that was based on the book with Eddie Redmayne about building the cathedral? Pillars of the Earth.
Yes.
Yeah, it's if you haven't watched it, it's worth a watch. It's about it looks at the church, but it looks at it through the eyes of an architect who is designing a cathedral for the church. Yeah, it was a TV series with Eddie Redmayne.
I was considering just rewatching Kingdom of Heaven for like the 30th time. It's everything I need to know about the church. I did not offer the water to you. Yeah. Is there anything anyone would like to do as summer passes?
Kyned has alerted all of his family knights to his encounter in the woods and what he believes of it. So telling everyone to be on guard that treachery may be afoot.
Well, since you're on guard, I don't need to make you roll for it. You start getting news throughout the fall that Lady Harfin is definitely at a certain convent in hiding, and she is petitioning the Bishop of Salisbury for control of your estate. She is making a classical case of genealogy that she and her true-born children are the true heirs and rulers, and has been making generous donations and tithings with funds she gets from God knows where in order to fabricate a claim against you.
Awesome.
Follow the money.
Would you like to follow the money? See, that's the thing. Glimo probably wants to follow the money. Kyned probably does not.
I don't think Kyned has the
Capacity.
capacity to follow the money.
You're just sad because you'd have to roll a 3.
I mean, he's got an intrigue of 11, but
Oh,
maybe
11.
even
Wow.
still,
All right. Hey, he can
That's-
follow the money.
the likelihood of, I suppose it's better than coin flip odds, but
That's 55%. I mean, if I told you you had the chance to get everything you wanted on better than a coin flip, would you say no?
No.
What harm could there come from failure? I should stop now.
right, yeah, that's the part going through Glimo's mind is.
And if you got passionate about it, you'd be even better than 50 odds.
Ooh.
Maybe.
Ooh.
I feel like that's going to be a thumbnail face for later.
Yeah, until I fumble my love of family again.
Hey,
This is how we got here in the first place.
I do not
Right.
control the rate at which dice tumble, okay? If you do nothing to impact the situation, your knights grumble that this lost woman continues to pester your family, the true-born knights, with this nonsense, but nothing is done about it.
I would get the order of the axe together and see if my companions have any advice as to how I might deal with this matter, given the other pressing politicking of the day.
So Gwent looks very drained, but is also nervously pacing during this meeting. I believe you set aside a building for the order now, right? Like they have their own small hunting lodge or something?
I was going to build essentially like guild hall this
Okay.
winter.
Hayden bounces out of his seat and immediately slams his hands on the table and says, I've actually been speaking to Bishop Roger about this very subject. I wonder, Sir Kyned, if you were to convert to Christianity, you would have a much stronger claim than Harfin.
It is true. What he says.
I say possession is 9/10 of the law.
Hayden looks confused, and you're starting to get the idea that he's been spending too much time communicating with the bishop. And he says, "Yes, that's well and good, of course, but the bishop has been very clear to me that a Christian claiming the house would have a much stronger claim. No one could just evict you out, but Harfin might be in a position to offer true Christian knights a chance to do violence and duel against you and your knights, harassing you until the lands fell into her possession. Things could happen without the protection of the church, of course."
I mean, you could simply have her killed, but the problem would be that whoever is backing you financially will probably still have an interest in getting her children.
How could you suggest assassinating a woman? A lady?
I certainly tried. But,
all right, this is the first Hayden has heard of any of this, and he's just like, what?
I certainly tried, but I believe she is out of reach to me as long as she's receiving succor at the Abbey. And let's face it, her network of intrigue far outstrips mine.
Indeed.
As it should.
She's using her money and her apparent faith in order to try and upset God's order.
Ooh, that's a good argument. This isn't Burning Wheel. It's too bad. We could get some good dice rolls out of this. I'm going to make a roll for Hayden's spiritual versus worldly. We're going to start with spiritual. No, this is a worldly roll for Hayden to see whether he recognizes, let's call it realpolitik. He's looking for an 8 or lower. Okay. He is too spiritual for this conversation on the 17, and he says, I hear much here that I'm not looking for. This conversation is far outside the bounds of what God expects from a good Christian knight. And you sense that he's about to say, and we're all good Christian knights here, which is something that you expect Salisbury knights would normally say to each other. But he's looking around and he recognizes we're not all good Christian knights here.
I mean,
and he
this dude
doesn't
was my
say,
squire for many years.
That doesn't make him any less Christian.
Sure.
But you know how it is when someone has a pre-made slogan that they want to say, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't actually use that."
Yeah, this doesn't actually apply.
Yeah, we are all good knights here, and some of what you say, the lesser intrigues of a weak woman locked away in a monastery, should be of little concern to a grand and glorious knight. Is that not true? That men of honor can use justice and honor on their side? We do not need wicked things in order to counter our ignoble foes. Am I wrong?
Oh, sweet summer child. Would that were true.
A single diseased rat getting into the grain stores can ruin an army.
Wow, that's a really good analogy and easy to understand. It's what Hayden says. He turns troubled and simply drinks from a mug of wine.
I think Kendric puts a hand on his shoulder and says, I would actually agree with you, but the advice of my brothers does need to be discounted.
I'll put my hand on his shoulder and say,
so you're both with hands on each
right,
shoulder?
Yes.
Yes, we have the devil and the angel now.
That's right, yeah. I understand how you feel, cousin. When you have a chance, come by Shrewton and we will speak with the father of my church together on this.
Father Bruggen, right?
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. He'll help us come to terms with this.
Takes a deep sigh. Kendric, you have your great swords.
There is.
I definitely did like the massage the shoulder thing as well before I let, a little too long before I let him go, just to
Sports coach, Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry,
So,
Glimo.
Kyned, his religion score is a 2, and his spiritual
Not even
is
particularly
a
good
10.
pagan. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kyned says, there is some wisdom to this. I've never been a terribly religious man. I keep the old ways because the family has always kept the old ways. But I'm not terribly spiritual. If you truly believe that this would help put things to rest, then perhaps we do need to talk about my conversion. Certainly given me something to think on.
Put my hand on his shoulder. Perhaps you should come by Shrewton, and we can speak with my father together at the church.
Hayden
Kendric
turns to look at you with puppy dog eyes, Kendric.
Kendric, as one of the, leading members of our faith, how would you feel if I were to give it up?
Leading member. Okay.
Well, he's probably
He just
the
out here
one of the most
fucking,
famous.
okay? Just, you see him out here, killing hares, sacrificing them in the forest to the Greek gods? I don't think so.
Wow. Mr. Kyned, I believe that each person's faith is their own. If it is as you say, that the only reason you keep to the old traditions is that your family kept them, and you feel strongly that converting to this, converting to Christianity would be beneficial to you, then I would not advise you against it.
Gwgan, I will probably take you up on a spiritual talk, and we can see how best, if there is some calling to me, and then we can see how best to get this done. Perhaps something for the holidays.
Not something to be anything too likely. So
Perhaps the Countess can, and her bishop can make some good out of this for the rest of Salisbury over Christmas.
Hayden was actually. Oh, sorry.
okay, I was going to say something. If it's in the same scene, you do it, because I was going to do something else separately to this.
I'd like to pull, or Hayden, I have a matter to speak with you on.
You pull Hayden aside.
Yeah. Your cousin has informed me that you have, I'll put this bluntly, have fathered a bastard.
This is news to me, the game master, but I believe that happened during the last year's.
Yeah. Oh, it was a while ago. I think he's got like a 3-year-old. Like when they were still a squire, I rolled a random birth in the family, and so I think he's got like a 3-year-old bastard now.
I have a son.
Yep.
This is what he actually looks like. I have a son.
That is what your cousin tells me.
That's what I've been told as well.
Yes.
I assume that they are well. I left
They're-
them with, the family when I was a squire. I have
Indeed.
not seen them much.
When we were speaking about your ascension to knighthood, he requested that I make a condition on you becoming one of my vassal knights, that you recognize and legitimize this bastard.
Oh, sure. I'll get the paperwork done tomorrow. I'll have someone read and write it for me.
Very well.
You know anyone that can read and write?
Yes, I have a priest here on the.
Let's have them draw the papers up. Well, hold on. A pagan priest?
No, he's my wife is a good Christian.
Ah, yes.
As you well know.
Yes, of course I know. Yes, it wouldn't make sense for me to have said any of that because, of course, I know that you have a good Christian priest. Very well. Slight retcon.
Yeah.
Look, it's tough. I didn't know I'd be playing Hayden so much. I need to get my story straight with this guy. Look, I have Gwent's whole history written down here. Has an uncle. Period. News begins to spread about the pillowcase of the White Hart and how it has been presented to the Countess. It has been made a heirloom of her line to be passed down among its people.
Daughters, I assume.
Could be. We'll see.
Yeah, the woman's gift.
Speaking of daughters,
sorry,
there are many people
thing,
approaching. Oh, go ahead.
Last thing I would do, by the way, just from that last scene, is I do actually want to send a letter to the monastery where Harfin is staying to her, reaching out, saying that
No.
I would like to meet with her if she would have me, coming to her as a fellow Christian, saying that I think we might be able to come to an arrangement of mutual benefit.
Okay. She sent you a letter back saying that she will meet with you 1 week before the Pentecostal feast at the monastery, that you should come alone in the evening as darkness falls.
I mean, I would imply that I would, like I'm in good terms with the bishop, so I'm not going to sneak into a monastery. I will come, but I will definitely come alone. I will come unarmored as a knight and meet with her as a Christian.
Yeah. Word spreads that there are many who are looking for the hand of Lady Jenna, and yet she has remained as absent from court as she has been these many years. The Countess entertains offers only on paper and has yet to see one that she likes. Gwgan, in the chilly hours of winter, you make your way to the monastery. It is heavily guarded for a monastery. Many Christian knights are camped outside. And while you would normally assume that knights at a monastery might guard in a sort of leisurely manner, keeping themselves warm, not a lot of vigilance, their guard here is closer to a battalion than a squadron. And these are not unknown knights to you. Several of them are some of the greatest men of the land that still remain. No one of any serious rank or consequence, just expert and skilled swordsmen who are also Christian. As you are led inside, you pass through, and one of the nuns who is walking with you says, "I trust that it not be made explicit, Sir Gwgan, but I will say it anyway, that there shall be no violence on these grounds and no attempt to remove any who have joined our convent or who are protected by it."
Well, as God is my witness, I come here to do no harm.
She looks at you sternly with all of the sternness and frigidness of a Catholic school teacher nun and then leads you to a cell where Harfin is seated in one of two chairs. It is a small and lonely place, perhaps only for this meeting. And Harfin kind of adjusts her skirt and says, Sir Gwgan, I apologize for the meager manner of our meeting. We have but a single candle here between us. Such
Lady
is
Harfin.
the way of good Christians.
Indeed. And I come to you today, armored only in my faith as a fellow Christian, to talk openly with you. I trust that the monastery has taken good care of you and your issue.
I have nothing to complain about before God.
I am conscious of the fact that there is still difficult blood in your family, along with my brother in arms, a man who is not Christian as we are, and doesn't see the world in the same way that we do. There is a possibility he is considering to take up our faith, something that in, I guess, some matters of affairs of legal matters, not affairs of faith or the heart, may have some bearing. I don't like it when these sorts of matters are decided by men and words rather than decided by God. And so I come to you as a man of God to say, I have estates that are unheld. You have children, you have a line which is unlanded right now because of your, is it brother-in-law? What's Kyned's, brother-in-law actions?
It's like brother and cousin-in-law. It's,
yeah.
right? Am I wrong about that? Right?
Yeah.
No,
No, it's brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, so then I'd say brother as well, because the in-law
Sure.
part of it really is separated out at the moment. If he were to convert to Christianity, thereby, and I mean, in all honesty, thereby strengthening God's kingdom, would you be willing to accept an estate for you and your family in perpetuity from among my Demon's holdings?
She pulls a small water skin out and drinks from it before turning to look at you sharply and say, in order for one to convert, they must be sincere in their repentance for their sins and crimes. Is this not so?
Indeed. And I would stand beside no baptism that was not an honest maneuver of faith.
Sir Kyned has taken from me my family's honor. He has taken from me my brothers. And now he has stolen children from me as well, on top of occupying my family's land. So I would say this to you. If Sir Kyned were a true and just Christian, he would return the children and the land and the title all to my family. And you may offer him whatever estates you wish.
I see sense in what you're saying. Repentance is important when it comes to accepting the first Holy Communion. So if I could make this arrangement, you would consider relieving yourself of the burden of bad blood between you and your brother?
She gives you a look that makes it clear to you that she is no true Christian, but that the idea of you manipulating Kyned into giving her back all the things she wants would be satisfactory to her. And look, guys, I can't make that look with my face right now,
Yeah.
but if this was a television show and we had Natalie Portman acting, you know you would see that look and be like, this woman ain't a Christian. She just wants the house back.
I think that this is God's will to see you restored and your family restored.
I have no faith in that. But should you dig Sir Kyned out from the burrow where he has sucked from my family's blood, I will consider it a true miracle.
Right. Then I put my arms out. Embrace me then as a fellow Christian as we see this to be done.
This is it. This is GrimDarkJames just throwing somebody from the balcony moment. He hugs her and then stabs her in the back, right in the liver. All right. She is willing to go through the motions of, again, pretending to be faithful and charitable and all of that shit.
Okay. Then I strangle her.
Do you really strangle her?
I will grab her by the neck and throttle her to death.
Okay.
Holy shit.
You kill her.
All right, and then I go to the door and I tell like the nearest person to summon the bishop.
Okay. You summon the bishop. I was like, we're going to end this on a high note. No, James, he just Duke Wolfiest me. The bishop appears outside the door and, it's nighttime. He is dressed in bed clothes, but he also has some robe of office on, and he's carrying, like a staff to emblemize his power. He sends everyone else away, and he's just like, "Why have you sent for me, Sir Gwgan, so late at night? Is something happened during your meeting with the Lady Hafen?"
Yes, I apologize, Bishop. I'm afraid that Hafen lies dead at my hands. I have forsaken my word, and I've killed on church grounds.
This is a serious crime, a sin which cannot be forgiven, my son.
I did so for I believe it to be the right choice in God's kingdom, and I pull one of my plenary indulgences and make sure you can see it before I hold the edge of it into the candlelight. So the candle flame.
Yes.
So I'm burning my indulgence basically. So
he sees you do that, and he says, "This is base trickery. You may find yourself at the gates of heaven one day, standing before St. Peter, but the Gospel of John will have you judged for this, Sir Gwgan. You may think that this act of chaos is cute, but all will know of your dishonor here, attacking an unarmed woman in the middle of the night, and then thinking you can get away with it. I agree that your sin has been forgiven in this case, but your crime has not. You will leave this place, and you will leave this church, and you will not return to this monastery, for you are not welcome here."
Very well. Then I will see you again when we both meet in heaven to settle the matter for once and for all.
Perhaps we will.
I'll take my stuff and I'll leave.
I think as you're leaving, the bishop is like calling for someone to take Harfin, and like word of what you've done has spread. You leave, and as you go, the wake behind you becomes inflammatory as the monastery lights up at night with the word that there has been a murder. And please lower your honor score by 1 for the murder of an unarmed woman in a monastery after you gave a sacred vow to God.
I mean, I'm able to also burn a venal indulgence for I'm plenty indulgence for the line.
Whatever indulgences you want to burn have no effect on your honor. They may have some effect on how your character is received in heaven, however.
Yeah, that's true.
Embrace me like a good Christian. Holy shit. Wow. This is GrimDarkJames' Game of Thrones moment. If this was a television show, this would have been the last episode of the season for sure. Scene of him walking away. The forums would be exploding. This is the Ned Stark. Oh, God. The absolute fucking gall to wake the bishop up, have him ride over from fucking Amesbury to come see you, and be like, "Yeah, I just killed this woman." No,
Wasn't that
the monastery is somewhere in the west, I believe. It's not at Amesbury Church. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So okay, no, well,
Yeah,
I thought they were the same place because you said that she was petitioning the bishop, so I thought she was at the same place.
No.
Yeah,
But she does. You can petition somebody by sending them letters and such. And he visits the monastery, of course.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly where it is. I can find it on a map eventually, but it is not at Amesbury. It is, however, where the queen is.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
She's at St. Albans.
Yes, well, that is also where this is taking place at St. Albans.
Okay. Yeah.
So you summon the bishop basically across country in the middle of the night to be like, "Hey, I just murdered a woman.
Well,
I super promise not to do so."
Because I probably wouldn't have summoned him from.
No, it's so funny though. It's
okay. Or I could have tried and tied it when he was actually there. Otherwise, I would have gone for whoever the senior person was. Yeah.
God damn! I burned my indulgence right in front of you. That's so cold. I should have made you roll like a worldly or spiritual roll to do this, but it was just so incredible. I didn't want to.
I've also donated over 30 libra to the church in the last 2 years. So if I stop donating, that might change how they feel about their
I assure you, if you stop donating now and go back on your sworn promise before God to build the cathedral, you will have a different set of circumstances.
I'm not going to go back on the promise. But the question is, do I keep donating? Do I keep giving them?
I see. Yeah.
Okay. When they come and say, "Oh, it's been a while since you donated last," it's like, it's been a while since I've been to the church because I'm not welcome there.
You're not welcome at St. Albans.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the church, at Amesbury.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Oh my God. Here's GrimDarkJames with his CEO level extortion. Oh, you want these generous donations? You better let me back into that place where I swore not to kill a woman.
Yeah.
And then I killed her.
It's strangled him to death.
While claiming to be a good Christian.
I just love the line, "Now embrace me like a good Christian."
This is the most sociopathic shit I've ever seen from GrimDarkJames. Somehow, James, this is worse than anything you've done in Warhammer 40k. All right, Glimo, any closing thoughts to the death of Harfin and Hey, listen, there's at least one kid that she still had that is now completely on the loose. Her mom is now dead.
I'm still gobsmacked.
Yeah.
The roller coaster that was happening in my head because, the things that Gwgan was agreeing to on Kyned's behalf, I was like, oh, hell no. Now I've got to go to war with Gwgan because I'm not leaving the family house. and then he killed her.
God, I thought it was going a little bit too well for me, but I didn't think I'd get murdered.
Yeah,
Even Spoon was like, damn, that was a good offer. Swap houses? Not bad. I looked at Spoon's face. I
wasn't going to take it, though. Yeah, I was like,
I knew Glimo wasn't going to take it, but I thought that James would take it to Glimo.
Yeah.
I if she'd taken my original offer, I wasn't going to kill her, by the way. But if that wasn't good enough for her, then she wasn't good enough for this world.
Wow. Peter's gonna have some words with you, brother.
and Gwgan will still take.
Holy shit.
Gwgan will still take effort to try and locate her children and invest them in Winterbornstoke.
Okay, I mean, Kyned has all of the children but one. They all were sent away except for her true heir.
Yeah.
I said young girl, but I believe it's a young boy.
Darwani.
Is now alone in that estate in the monastery.
But I'll have the conversation. Well, that's why I say how are you?
Next episode
I'll have the conversation
with
Kyned.
I did not see that coming.
I just fucking love the gall of presenting the indulgence. What's amazing is this is going to split all the Christian knights because the ones who believe in the indulgence or the ones who don't care and just are like, okay, yeah, you can give money and that will get you into heaven. And the true believers are going to be like, that's bullshit, you son of a
I mean,
bitch.
there's also the thing
They're
with
gonna
indulgences is there's indulgences that you use after you accidentally break your faith, and it's a whole other thing from I deliberately did this knowing that I could
Yeah.
seek forgiveness,
Yeah, it's a real theological question as to what must be done with you.
But I need you to know this in this year I also critically failed a spiritual test and got one more worldly and a tick in worldly. So
yeah, that's it. You were like, I should consider slightly some things I haven't before. I think I'll murder a woman. You can only get these kinds of storylines here, and this is dynamic content. I mean, it doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
Hey, Freds. You still have an opportunity if you're watching live to sign up for Patreon, because tomorrow the Patreon Twitch sub meeting will be happening. And when that happens, I will not only be doing my usual blibber blabber and going over all of the ongoing shows, but I will be discussing a new upcoming show at greater detail than normal and reviewing my new filing system, aka Trello, as to all ongoing projects. So, less blibber blabber, or an equal amount of blibber blabber, but with more real hard stuff. Glimo, I offer to you the outros.
I'm Glimo. You can find me here in AP's Discord, and here when we're back next time. Wow, where this session ended up. Crazy sauce. Thank you for ridding me of one problem, James. I'm sure this is going to open up several more for me. So, yeah, that's about it.
Spoon, you got anything?
BigSpoon. I'm here on Saturday nights. You can find me on the Discord. Currently painting up a Warhammer Fantasy Empire of Man army.
Okay, James.
I'm GrimDarkJames, and now I'm considering whether I actually build a Roman Catholic cathedral rather than a British Christian cathedral.
Surely the Pope will forgive me.
There's no Pope. There's no Pope. You're too far in the future. Right? Am I crazy in thinking there's no Pope in the 500s?
No, the Pope. Well, sorry, there's no Pope in the historical 500s. There is a Pope in Arthurian. This is obviously this is like supposed to be like 11th century. So if you read through, if like there is still the division between the British Christian Church and the Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
Yeah, even though Martin Luther hasn't appeared for a long time, there's already the division between the Roman and British churches. In fact, it's possible to get a hatred of Roman Christians as a British Christian.
Right. I mean, Christians hating other Christians is pretty normal. What I love is I've Control F Pope, and while Pope appears numerous times, they are never named.
Yeah.
Who am I supposed to say? Who's the secret female Pope that happened? I'm gonna say it's her.
The Archbishop of Rome.
Secret female Pope. This is a real fake legend. Yeah. Pope Iones Angelicus. She lived in 855. Okay, good old Pope Joan.
Because Arthurian legend is realistically like 11th century, isn't it?
What? That's crazy. Like You're telling me a guy described as an Islamic Saracen showing up before the founding of the Muslim religion that was out of place? That's crazy. Next, you're going to tell me you can't have a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. How are they going to get around if it's not on velocipedes?
Yeah, and that's already canon, so...
Not yet. It's not canon yet. It will happen for sure, but only because I like Mark Twain.
Well, we've seen him though. We've seen the Canadian Yankee.
Galatius and Anticius should be Pope in the next couple years.
Really? I thought they were... All right.
Galatius is Pope up until right before this scene happens. Actually, he dies in November of 496.
Wow. This is why you have 3 kids.
The news that Gwgan pulled this shit off is what killed him.
That's why you have 3 kids: one for air, one for spare, one for prayer. So you can send one to the church and try and get them up to the status of Pope.
We even have Pondo in the audience today. Long shot calling "Embrace Me as a True Christian" being the. I didn't see it coming, guys. I honestly thought that James was going to go for the swap, and then it would just cause heat between him and Kyned. When James was like, and then I strangle her to death, I was like, fuck, I just got. Let's just check with him to double check and make sure this isn't, a thing. I think I just got Ophius.
Alexa, so do you like the human hands comment?
Yes, I did.
Hey, Nero still had 2 human hands right up until the end. Right up until the end. And hey, he didn't die from being strangled. Oh my goodness. GrimDarkJames.
I got to thank you as a GM for not making a knight have to roll to strangle a woman.
Why would I didn't even consider it? First off, there's not a skill for it, but you're full on like a 1.5 feet taller than her, like 100 pounds over her, and she is living in a convent with next to no money. Like, there was no question. Besides, what would happen if you'd rolled a 20? What would we do then? She strangles you to death? Could you imagine that situation where she's like, he tried to strangle me to death, and I accidentally killed him?
Look, I fully suspect she might have a. I did think she might have a knife, and I might get stabbed several times while, but I was confident that I could sustain several stabs.
I considered it. We all know that she's a spy and a planner, but I was like, there's no way she would bring a weapon. First off, there's no way anyone would give her a weapon. And why would she suspect Sir Gwgan, the great Christian knight, the converter, the battlefield commander, the second most glorious man in all of Salisbury, would demean himself in this way? There will be repercussions for this beyond burning some indulgence papers.
Yeah.
But hey, great news, Kyned. You do not have to worry about anyone fabricating a claim against you, because there's literally no one left. What's his name? Darwani? No, definitely. You know what? We're just going to say you can take Darwani at this point. You know what I mean? All of the kids hate you. We've established that. They're all going to be acting against you. But you can go ahead and add Darwani back to your family tree. You're responsible for him. And when these kids start turning 20, I'll let you know all the bad stuff they've secretly been doing against you.
Excellent.
You know what they say?
We'll
a house divided against itself cannot stand.
15 years.
Yeah, that's why I want to invest them in my manor, because that way I can force them to swear fealty to the person that killed their mother.
Yeah, of course. And maybe send them on a couple pilgrimages. You should be just as faithful as I am. Have you considered going to the... Oh my God, have you considered going to the funeral of the Pope? She was a good Christian woman, and I feel bad. I'll pay for the pilgrimage for the... Oh my God, James. This could go so deep. All right. We'll find out next episode and beyond. Okay? We'll find out. I don't know what's happening anymore. All right? Yeah. This is Solaris Knight's mercenary mission, the final one, where the entire group starts fighting each other in a 3-way battle, and I'm just like, what's happening, right? Don't the 2 of you motherfuckers smile, because you guys were the ones instigating it. You're the 2 ringleaders.
Now you know why I hired
sidelines until almost the very end.
Now you know why I hired a Spanish spy master.
All right, we're done. We're done here. We'll be back, and it won't be next week. It might be in 2 weeks.